Parkour zombies and horror undertones at its core, that's what the Dying Light series has always promised. It's a formula that explains why the franchise continues to thrive and maintain such a loyal fanbase at the same time. Following Dying Light 2 Stay Human, the newest entry, Dying Light the Beast, feels more like a stopgap than a fully fledged sequel. It's not branded as a third mainline game, it doesn't offer the scope of a massive open world epic, but instead it revisits and closes the chapter of the series' original protagonist, Kyle Crane. In this story, Crane finally escapes years of imprisonment and torture, 13 long years linking back to the events of the following and pushing the timeline beyond Stay Human. Techland originally envisioned this release as an expansion or DLC for Dying Light 2, but it eventually grew into a standalone project. Narratively, that makes sense. From a gameplay perspective, however, it sometimes feels stripped down and restrained, but not in a completely bad way. The story picks up with Crane's escape from the sadistic Baron, and soon he finds himself in Castor Woods, a scenic European region full of contrasts. There's an ornate medieval town, campsites scattered across the land, winding rivers, dense woodlands, and all of it overrun by violent, infected, zombies, monsters. Sometimes they're a little more monstrous than the average zombie, but you know what I mean. Never mind. At least it's both a refugee and a battleground. Crane's mission starts with survival, but quickly evolves into a quest for revenge against the man who tormented him for over a decade, the Baron. Taking down a villain who commands a small army isn't something Crane can manage alone, of course. He allies with survivors and faces off against mutated creatures called chimeras, however you want to call it. Defeating them not only weakens the Baron's hold, by the way, but it also grants Crane access to their corrupted blood. Injecting it into himself unlocks brutal powers and strengthens his beast side. Yeah, I know, it sounds weird, but it is pretty cool. This is a consequence of the Baron's twisted experiments. This dual nature turns Crane into both man and monster, able to unleash devastating rage when needed, but you will never be too overpowered. There's a very great balance in between being just the regular guy he is and the monster he can become for a couple of seconds. That's actually it. So you don't get overpowered. It's a great balance for the difficulty of the game, you know? It's not like you can overrun everything and just defeat everything. It's still kind of scary and exciting and, you know. So they did a great job with this combination. And the story structure is also straightforward. Track down the Baron, eliminate his chimeras, grow stronger, and push toward revenge, actually. Along the way, side quests and lore discoveries flesh out the consequences of the Baron's experiments and Crane's new identity. The narrative is entertaining, though it does lean heavily on familiar tropes, betrayals you can see coming, predictable twists, and standard action plot beats. You know, it's pretty predictable, everything, but that doesn't matter, because a game like this, you don't want it too complicated or too intense story. Even though I personally love single player linear story games, this one isn't annoying. It's like okay to listen to and okay to follow the story, but you still get enough time to fuck up zombies, if you know what I mean. But, you know, gameplay-wise, this is classic Dying Light. The parkour system remains fluid and satisfying as always, far outpacing anything you'd find in Assassin's Creed. Combat demands smart thinking. You're one man against endless threats, but it also delivers the bone-crunching melee action that fans expect. Crafting and survival elements return, but without being overbearing, and the game retains a strong horror edge. Once night falls or you venture into a pitch-black tunnels, tension skyrockets, echoing the chilling dread of films like 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. Let's not talk about 28 years later. Progression is also refreshingly simple. Crane has two skill paths, one tied to human abilities, unlocked through experience from missions and activities, and another skill tree tied to his beast form. Enhanced by, of course, defeating chimeras in boss fights. This latter track lets you expand his monstrous powers and eventually control when beast mode activates. Crafting and gear upgrades are equally straightforward, no bloated RPG systems, just practical resource collection and equipment enhancement. For newcomers, Beast Mode feels like a safety net. When you're overwhelmed, it gives you the upper hand and ensures survival. Veterans, though, might wish it carried more consequences. It might make it a little too easy for some people. Where the game falters most is its open world. Castor Woods is undeniably beautiful, blending urban and nature landscapes, but exploration quickly feels repetitive. Beyond story objectives, you'll spend time unlocking safe zones through parkour challenges, raiding dark zones for rare materials, looting convoys, or stumbling across random encounters with little reward. After a while, the world feels kinda flat, encouraging you to stick to the main path rather than wander aimlessly. And yet, despite these shortcomings, the Beast is still amazingly fun. Whether it's the thrill of mastering free-running routes, the terror of being chased by volatiles at night, or the satisfaction of smashing through hordes of zombies and tearing down chimeras, the game delivers plenty of engaging moments. It's not a reinvention of the series, nor is it a step above Stay Human, but it's a solid, accessible entry that offers enough depth to keep players coming back. That's what I'm sure of. But at the end of the day, the Dying Light formula still shines bright, even if it's inching closer to the point where major innovation is needed. The Beast proves that running, fighting, and surviving in a world of nightmare hasn't lost its appeal. Well guys, I hope I helped you out with this video. Drop some comments what you think about the game. Have you already played it? Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you thought of the video. And don't forget to hit the like if you enjoyed the video. And maybe subscribe as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.